Hey guys, Kim here. Gonna do a video today on generators. I got a few generators here. I got a cheap one, the most expensive one, and a 3.5 kilowatt over there as well. I want to see if if these generators can run my caravan, and what can they run? Can they run my aircon? Can they run my battery chargers? What actually are they capable of doing? And I've got a few different types here, so I pretty much got the King's one here, which is 2.2 kilowatts, and I got the 2.2 kilowatt Honda and a 3.5, pretty much a Gentrax. I want to see if any of these generators are any good. Okay, the plan is that I want to drain these batteries, and as you can see here, I just want to get the batteries down a bit so that so we can get this charger to kick in. So at the moment I'm draining them. I'm using about 13 amps or so. So I'm just going to drain that a bit more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run this aircon here, this Bel Air 3400 aircon. I think it's a Horton brand. And I'm going to run that, cold as I can. I want to bring on the compressor and see if these generators can run it. Oh, probably a little bit too full. Okay, first up is the King's 2.2 kilowatt generator. This thing retails for around about $600, I believe. Yep, there's some details there for you. It's a Mac Pro, but King's have pretty much rebranded it, so it's pretty much a King's generator. 2.2 kilowatts at its max here as well. It's got your prime buttons there, your fuel shut off and your pull start, open and close, breather on the top there, run and choke. It apparently is 4.1 liters of petrol it can hold, so I'll be interested to see how much it weighs. But compared to the Honda, it's actually a little bit bigger. I'll put some side by sides in a sec, but you can see just it's a little bit bigger, probably about the same sort of narrow. Maybe this one a little bit more fatter, but yeah, that's the difference there. As you can see, it is a little bit higher, but still fairly small generator. Let's see how much it weighs, and I've topped all these up so they are full of fuel. Sitting on the scale there. Okay, sitting on the scale there, and we're 22.4 fully loaded with fuel. Alright, let's start it up. Okay, we're pretty much about 7 meters away from the generator. As you can see, it's over there. And we'll turn our sound on. So it's around about 60 dB, yeah? It's gone up obviously because I'm talking, but pretty much around 60. So 60 at 7 meters. It actually feels pretty quiet. It's got a bit of noise to it, obviously. There's only a slight little bit of wind around today. It's not too bad. And the exhaust is facing down the street. So let's plug it in and see what sort of power wattage it can handle. Alright, so we are plugged in right now. So we're plugged in. My battery charger is turned off. Okay, so I've turned that off. So now what I might do is I'll turn on the aircon, and what I'll do is I'll drop it down really low, so it's on 16. Just gonna do 16, there you go. So that's definitely gonna kick the compressor in. So let's see how much power it's actually using right at the moment. I'm using about 36 amps at the moment with that fridge going, all my lights going, fans going, so it's definitely, I am sucking a fair bit of amps out of my batteries. Okay, so I got my aircon pumping out nice cold air at the moment, and I got my thermostat just checking it out, so it's definitely pumping cold air. So let's just go see what the generator's doing. Okay, it's on about 244 volts. Okay, generator's over there, it's running with the aircon right now. So we're pretty much sitting around that 65 with the generator running the aircon with the King's generator. That's actually pretty good. I don't really notice it being much louder really. So yeah, actually, that's not too bad. So it's pretty much around about the 1200 watts with that aircon running. So it actually is pretty good really, considering that's compressor running and it's pumping out cold air. So yeah, 1200 watts at the moment. Alright, so I know that it can actually run my aircon now, which is pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Can it run my aircon and charge my batteries? Yeah, let's give that a go. Whoa. Can already notice the difference in noise. Okay, what I had to do is I had to chuck some car floor mats on top of the solar panels, so you can see there I really reduced my solar coming in. So it's only 5 watts, 3 watts, whatever, so that's bugger all. So I would say right now that we're pretty much running straight off the generator and we're drawing 38 amps. So we're about 70 right now. Still not that really loud really. It's not too bad. Remember, we're only 7 meters away, so you could put the generator a bit further away if you wanted to. Alright, let's go see what the power consumption is. So looking at that, we're around about 1700 watts. It's doing well. I would say because my batteries are not fully depleted, that charger underneath there, the Redac one, is not working 100% capacity, but it's still doing a pretty good job running my aircon on my load. I'm still pretty happy with that. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with the results of that. Obviously, if my battery was really low, I don't know if it would be able to do that, because that Redac charges a 30 ampere. So if it was running a 30 amps plus what I'm already doing right now, I don't think it would be able to do that. It's already at about 1800, 1700 watts already, so I think it will struggle trying to charge my caravan plus run all my accessories at the same time. Okay, next we have a Honda 2.2, pretty much top of the range generator you can get. It's pretty impressive quality really. You can sort of tell by just looking at it, you know, quality is a lot better. It's only got a 3.6 litre fuel tank though, so compared to the 4.1, so it's just a little bit of a difference. But I suppose if this works out to be more efficient, then that shouldn't matter. They should be pretty equal. So let's weigh it and see what it weighs. Okay, the Honda is pretty much weighing in at 24.6, fully loaded with fuel and oil. So yep, that's what it weighs. The Honda now running with no load on it. Let's see what the sound is. Probably around about that 61, maybe 62. There's only a light breeze here really, not too bad. So yeah, it's pretty quiet, seems quiet. I felt the difference between the two, like you can feel when you're pulling on the cord. It feels just a lot more quality pulling on that cord. They both started in the same amount of time though. Put out about 244 volts. So I think that was pretty much the same as the King's one. Turn everything back on again now. I've got the door open obviously to heat this caravan so that I can do my tests for the aircon. So let's turn everything back on. 16 degrees. Got the fridge door open. And we should be getting up to the same results we got before, around that 38. Compressor's kicked on. So yeah. So about 65 when it's running with that full load. So it's definitely a bit quieter than the King's one. It's a little bit quieter. It's got a sort of a distinct sort of different noise as well. It's more of a muffled noise rather than the King's was a mechanical sort of noise, if I could put it that way. They both were quiet, but the King's one, the Honda one just seems a bit more like, I don't know, like deeper or a bit more muffled, so it sounds quieter, if that makes sense.
And that's the voltage, 235 volts. So around about 1700 watts to run that.
So probably the first thing I'm sort of noticing, is quality, as I mentioned before. The quality of the ports, the switches, everything just looks neater. I know this is a newer machine than that one. I've had that one for a couple of years now, but still the quality just looks a little bit better. And your pulling power doesn't seem to be as hard as that one, even though they're both easy. They were both easy, but just this one seemed a little bit more streamlined. So yeah, and the size, as I said before, the King's one just a little bit bigger than this. Alright, let's get going on the 3.5 now and see what that does. That's a bit of a size comparison from the King's one, the 3.5, and then the Honda. So the 3.5 is a touch bigger. Well, depends what you call by a touch, but it is a little bit bigger for sure. A little more bulkier. So it's a little bit wider, a little bit higher. Definitely not as quality as the Honda though. But still, if it gets the results you want, that's the main thing I suppose. Well, depending on your opinion I suppose. Alright, let's see how much it weighs. To put it on a slight angle so that it would sit on there properly. Around about 35 kilos. So definitely a bit heavier than your 2.2s for sure. Okay, so we got the 3.5 running right now. I'd probably say around that 63. Alright, let's plug it in.
Well, it's about 243.
Okay. I'll call it 73. So it's running about 73 dB with full load. But this generator can handle a lot more, so I'll be curious to see if I can turn some more stuff on and see if it can do it. So as I said, we are doing about 1.65 kilowatts at the moment, coming in from purely just a generator. It's running running my aircon, and it's also running some of the charger. So what I want to do is I want to be a little bit noisy now, if you can bear with me. I'm just going to turn on the blender for a little bit and see what the wattage does. So let's just put it on kilowatts and turn this blender on. So I did 2000, no worries. The 3.5 seems like it's a pretty good generator. It is a little bit bigger and it is significantly heavier, and it is a bit heavier. I think it was heavier by almost 10 kilos, so that can be a factor. The size as well, it's a little bit higher, a little bit fatter. I'd say mostly the weight is the thing, but it makes up for it with the kilowatts. So obviously it's 3.5s versus 2.2, so technically you could run your aircon, charge your batteries, make your cocktails. You can do a few different things with this, If your batteries were fully low, obviously you wouldn't want to run your aircon anyway, but it definitely could charge up your batteries a little bit quicker. The battery charger I have is 30 amps, so that could do it as well. But you could do a few more options with this generator. So $800, $600, and almost $2,000 really. So definitely Honda's got a lot more quality, you can just tell. Warranty is pretty much similar, I think. But you could pretty much buy 3 of these to the cost of that. But this will probably last a lot longer than those 3, I suppose. So it's just, you've got to work it out on your budget. But it's definitely done all the things I wanted to do. Run my aircon or charge my batteries. It's definitely, they all sort of fit into what I want to do. The only thing about that is when it comes to, the only thing is when it comes to weight, I really want to keep my weight down. So that is a bit of a factor, this one. I think the smaller one would be just as good for me. Yeah, it's helped you out with a little bit of information on which generator to choose for your caravan and why. They're all pretty good generators. I'll be pretty happy with any of them. But obviously if I had a bit more money, then I'd probably choose the Honda over the rest of them. Or if I had high demands, like a big caravan with different charging capacities and all that stuff, maybe I would think about the bigger generator. It's only a little bit bigger, but it is definitely a bit heavier. So I think I would choose it on the size of my caravan, my loads. But all in all, they're all pretty good generators and all fairly easy to start. The 3.5 has a switch on it, so you've got to remember to turn that on. And they all have eco as well, so they can run at a reduced RPM. But if you're definitely chewing up the power, you probably don't want to choose the eco mode. They're all fairly easy to start. Couple of pulls, I had it right. This one you pump the fuel. This one you just got to turn the fuel switch. And this one's got a fuel switch on there. Definitely the pulling of this Honda was a lot more smoother and neater, but I can't complain about them. They're all pretty good. They're all got breathers on them. Yeah, so they're all fairly simple with their servicing side of it. Spark plugs and air filters, that's pretty much the main things, and then your oil. So those three things you just got to keep on top of. Alright guys, thanks for watching.